Did you know that, according to the United States National Institute on Aging, up to 65% of men over the age of 60 are facing issues with circulation, vitality, and hormone function, without realizing that the cause may come from foods that seem perfectly healthy? One of the most common examples is the nuts you eat every day. Happiness at this age is still being able to enjoy good food, sleep soundly, and feel that your body still carries a sense of purpose. But sometimes, even a small handful of nuts can shorten your sleep, cloud your memory, or cause your blood pressure to rise without warning. I know this may sound hard to believe because we have all been told that nuts are good for our health, but today I will share with you 4 types of nuts that should be completely avoided after age 60, and 4 others that should be eaten regularly if you want your body to slowly regain energy. Sharpen your thinking and keep your blood pressure more stable with each passing day. Stay with me until the end. It might change the way you care for your health from this day forward. The first nut you should eat is the Brazil nut. I still remember clearly the first time I met Jack, a retired firefighter at the age of 67. He came to see me with a tired expression, sunken eyes, and a low voice. Jack said that lately he had been feeling drained, his memory was fading, and every morning he woke up feeling like an empty battery. He had tried many supplements and exercised regularly, but still could not regain that feeling of youthful energy he once had after a thorough evaluation. The results showed that Jack had a severe deficiency in one mineral that many men over 60 often overlook: selenium. Selenium is not only a powerful antioxidant, but also plays a crucial role in activating thyroid hormones and supporting the body's natural production of male hormones. These 2 systems are responsible for nearly all of the body's ability to maintain energy, memory, and a positive mental state in later years. I did not give Jack a prescription. I simply suggested that he eat exactly 1 Brazil nut each day, chew it thoroughly, and store it in the refrigerator. 3 weeks later, Jack returned with a healthier glow, brighter eyes, and a gentle smile as he said, "I don't know what's in that nut, but I feel alive again." The Brazil nut is the richest natural source of selenium. Just 1 small nut provides more than 130% of the daily selenium requirement. And it is much easier for the body to absorb than synthetic forms. Selenium helps regulate metabolism, maintain body temperature, reduce fatigue, and most importantly, supports the natural and safe recovery of hormone function in men over 60. In addition, the healthy fats in Brazil nuts help protect the myelin layer of the nervous system, improving memory and reaction speed. However, please note that too much selenium can be harmful, so you should eat no more than 1 to 2 nuts per day. Consider it a small daily ritual to awaken your thyroid and hormonal system every morning. The second nut you should eat is the almond. Every time I think of almonds, I remember my father. He was a quiet, steady man who always kept a small habit for himself every morning. He would sit by the window with a cup of hot tea and a small bowl containing a few raw almonds. They help me feel more awake each day. He used to say, back when I was too young to understand what that really meant, only later, when I entered the field of geriatric medicine, did I realize that my father was more right than any advice I had read in textbooks. Almonds are not just a snack. They are a quiet but powerful form of daily prevention for bones and memory after age 60. Let's start with the bones. After the age of 65, bone density declines steadily. The risk of falling and breaking a bone increases, and even a small fall can leave you bedridden for months. In just 1/4 cup of almonds, there are nearly 100 milligrams of calcium, but even more important, they are rich in magnesium, a mineral that helps transport calcium to the right place, your bones, instead of letting it build up in the blood vessels and raise the risk of blockages. And from memory, many of my patients are less worried about heart problems than they are about forgetting their grandchild's name, losing their way home, or not remembering why they walked into the kitchen. Almonds help slow that process through antioxidants found in their thin brown skin, combined with vitamin E, forming a protective shield for brain cells. Not only that, but the fiber in almonds also supports digestion, which is essential for absorbing vitamins and maintaining a light, comfortable feeling each day. I often recommend that patients eat 15 to 20 almonds daily, raw or dry roasted, without salt, and chewed slowly. It is not just about nutrients. It is a way to quietly and steadily take care of yourself every day. The third nut you should eat is the walnut. A few years ago, I visited a patient named Harold, a retired music teacher. He had been living alone since his wife passed away and was gradually becoming more forgetful. Small things like the name of a neighbor, where he had left his keys, or even the way home started to become unclear. During our conversation, he opened his kitchen cabinet and pulled out a small jar filled with walnut halves. He smiled gently and said, "I heard. It looks like the brain, so maybe it's good for the mind." What he said touched me deeply. Not just because of the quiet effort of an older man trying to hold on to his clarity, but also because science has confirmed that he was right. Walnuts are among the best foods for brain health and sleep support in people over 60. They contain ALA, a plant-based form of omega-3, which helps maintain the flexibility of nerve cell membranes and boosts connection and response speed. But it doesn't stop there. Walnuts also contain polyphenols, powerful anti-inflammatory compounds that can cross the blood-brain barrier to protect brain tissues from aging and the silent damage caused by conditions like Alzheimer's or mild cognitive decline. A study published in the Journal of Nutrition found that older adults who ate about 40 grams of walnuts daily for 8 weeks showed noticeable improvements in processing speed and focus. Even more special, walnuts provide natural melatonin, a sleep-regulating hormone that the body tends to produce less of with age. For those who struggle with sleep or often wake up in the middle of the night, a few walnuts in the evening can be a gentle, natural solution. I recommend eating 7 to 9 walnut halves daily. Keep them refrigerated to prevent the oils from turning rancid. And don't worry about the slightly bitter skin. It is actually where most of the antioxidants are found. Just like Harold chose, let walnuts be your companion and a small ritual each night to keep your mind sharp and your sleep more restful. The fourth nut you should eat is the pistachio. When I was a child, every time I visited my grandfather's house, I would often see him sitting in his old armchair with a wooden bowl full of pistachios beside him. He would slowly shell each one, chew carefully, and gaze peacefully out at the garden. Back then, I thought it was just a simple habit of an elderly man. But now, after decades of studying geriatrics and nutrition, I realized that he was doing something far wiser than many younger people today. Pistachios are not only a tasty snack, but also one of the most health protective nuts for people over the age of 60. They contain a large amount of potassium, more than 280 milligrams per serving, even more than many fruits and vegetables. Potassium is an essential nutrient that helps relax blood vessels, reduce pressure on artery walls. and naturally stabilize blood pressure. This is especially helpful for older adults who are experiencing arterial stiffness or are sensitive to salt. But pistachios offer even more. They are rich in lutein and zeaxanthin, two powerful antioxidants that accumulate in the retina and protect vision from blue light, helping slow the progression of macular degeneration, one of the leading causes of vision loss in seniors. And if you are concerned about blood sugar levels, pistachios have a low glycemic index, are high in fiber, and help slow the absorption of sugar after meals, supporting better insulin control. Instead of sugary treats that spike blood sugar, is just one small handful of pistachios a day can make a lasting difference. I often recommend eating about 49 pistachios daily, choosing the unsalted or lightly salted kind. If your hands are weak, you can buy shelled ones, but make sure to store them in an airtight container. When you sit calmly, shelling each nut and chewing slowly, it is more than just a snack. It becomes a daily ritual of caring for your body with love. Now that we've covered the healthy nuts, let's take a look at the ones older adults should avoid. The first nut you should avoid is the peanut. George was a 72-year-old veteran with a strong build, a deep voice, and steady eyes. He came to my clinic with persistent joint pain and high blood pressure that would not improve, even though his diet and medications had remained the same. When I asked about his daily eating habits, he smiled and said, "I don't snack much. Just a few peanuts every evening. They're cheap, tasty, and I've heard they're good for the heart." Sadly, this is a common misunderstanding. Peanuts are not actually nuts. They are legumes, and this makes them highly susceptible to contamination by a toxic mold called aflatoxin. You can't see it, smell it, or taste it, but over time, aflatoxin builds up in the body, damaging the liver, weakening the immune system, and increasing the risk of cancer. Older adults, whose detoxification functions tend to slow with age, are even more vulnerable. On top of that, peanuts are a hidden trigger of inflammation that can silently affect the joints, brain, and cardiovascular system. You might not notice it right away, but if consumed regularly, symptoms like joint pain, memory decline, or persistent fatigue could be your body's warning signs. Even more concerning is the very high sodium content found in most roasted peanut products. With over 60% of adults over 65 living with high blood pressure, this hidden salt is like fuel to a fire. Not to mention that many peanut snacks are coated with sugar, hydrogenated oils, and preservatives, placing extra strain on the liver and kidneys. One more thing, most people don't realize peanuts contain a high amount of omega-6. When this is not balanced with omega-3, it can disrupt circulation, cause brain fog, and reduce the effectiveness of aging-related hormones. And if you are taking blood-thinning medication, peanuts may interfere with the absorption of certain vitamins involved in clotting, making your treatment more complicated. So if you've been eating peanuts as your daily snack, this may be the time to reconsider. There are healthier, less inflammatory options that are especially good for older adults, such as unsalted almonds or pistachios. Let your food be a companion to your health, not a quiet burden that weighs you down with age. The second nut you should avoid is the cashew. Linda was a kind grandmother, 70 years old, who always carried a small bag of homemade snacks and granola bars to share with her grandchild during their park walks. She came to see me looking concerned because she often felt tired, had frequent bloating, and had recently discovered that her blood sugar was rising, even though she believed her diet was healthy. As we reviewed her eating habits together, one name kept coming up: cashews. Cashews in her snacks, in her milk, in her midday bites. At first, they may seem harmless, but in reality, cashews contain significantly more starch than many other nuts, up to 9 grams of carbs per ounce. For someone in the pre-diabetic stage or already managing diabetes, which affects nearly 50% of people over 60 in the United States, even a small handful of cashews can cause a blood sugar spike without warning. These hidden spikes over time weaken the pancreas and impact energy, mental clarity, and the vitality of aging. But that's not all. Cashews are also high in oxalates, a natural compound that can bind with calcium in the gut, preventing your body from properly absorbing this essential nutrient. The result is gradually weakening bones, often mistaken as a normal part of aging. Worse, oxalate buildup can contribute to kidney stones, leading to intense pain and the potential need for medical intervention, something that becomes riskier with age. And if you have trouble swallowing or wear dentures, cashews are especially risky. Their smooth shape makes them more likely to slip into the airway if eaten quickly or not chewed, leading to choking accidents that are completely preventable. One little known fact is that raw cashews contain a natural toxin, and they must go through multiple processing steps before they are safe to eat. Unfortunately, this process also strips away much of their original nutrition. Instead of feeding your body something tasty but not nourishing, you can easily switch to walnuts or almonds, which are easier to digest and help support memory and stable blood sugar day by day. The third nut you should avoid is the macadamia. Carl was a retired engineer at 68, disciplined and very careful about his health. He ate in moderation, walked daily, didn't drink alcohol, and never smoked. Yet recently, he began to feel sluggish after meals, notice fatigue creeping in, and his weight slowly increasing without any clear reason. When I asked what he usually ate in the evening, he smiled and said, "I don't really snack, just a few macadamia nuts each night. I heard they're good for the heart." Macadamias certainly sound luxurious, with their rich, buttery flavor and smooth texture that can be quite addictive, but few people realize that just 1 ounce, about a small handful, contains nearly 200 calories and over 22 grams of fat, most of which is saturated fat. For someone over 60, when metabolism has slowed and physical activity is often reduced, taking in such a high amount of energy without feeling full can lead to gradual, hard to control weight gain. And it's not just about the weight. Macadamia nuts can also affect blood lipids, particularly by raising LDL, the bad cholesterol that sticks to artery walls, narrows blood vessels, and increases the risk of stroke. This is especially concerning for those already managing high blood pressure, diabetes, or heart conditions. Macadamias may also cause some unexpected problems. Many older adults have gallstones without knowing it. And the high fat content in macadamias can trigger strong contractions of the gallbladder, leading to dull abdominal pain or sudden cramps after meals. I have also seen patients crack dental bridges by biting into hard macadamias, ending up needing full restoration of their upper teeth. Macadamias can be a tempting treat, but if your goal is to maintain a lighter figure, stable cholesterol levels, and avoid sudden gallbladder pain, Reducing or replacing them with lighter options like unsalted almonds may be a wise choice. The fourth nut you should avoid is the pine nut. I once had a patient named Ruth. She was 74 years old, petite, careful, and very health conscious. She took her medications on time every day, walked regularly, and prepared her own meals with great care. But one day, she came to see me looking confused and said that for the past week, everything she ate had a strange metallic taste. Even plain water no longer tasted right. We checked every possible cause, from digestion to medications, until she suddenly remembered that she had been using a lot of pine nuts in her homemade pesto sauce. At that moment, I knew we had found the answer. Pine nuts, though small, can trigger a condition known as pine mouth, which causes a lingering taste disturbance that lasts for several days or even a full week. In older adults, this may seem minor, but it can be quite serious. A distorted sense of taste often leads to a loss of appetite, skipped meals, weight loss, and rapid decline in physical strength. Even more concerning, pine nuts contain compounds that may interact with the liver, tolls, the organ responsible for processing most of the medications. Older adults take daily. This means that treatment effectiveness may decrease or unexpected side effects could arise without warning. Pine nuts are also rich in unstable fats. If not stored properly, these fatty acids can oxidize and turn into inflammation, triggers affecting the joints and organs that are already weakening with age. Additionally, because of their small size and smooth surface, pine nuts pose a choking hazard, especially for those with dry mouth or reduced swallowing reflex due to aging or certain medications. With all these concerns, I always advise older adults to avoid pine nuts and choose safer, easier to digest alternatives that truly support long-term health. Once you pass the age of 60, your body begins to speak to you in its own quiet ways. Sometimes it's through restless sleep, a lingering fatigue with no clear reason, or a morning when your memory suddenly feels foggy. Many people accept this as a natural part of aging. But I believe that small changes in your daily habits can create a big difference, not just in your health, but in the quality of your life. Today, you and I have gone through a simple but important journey: 4 types of nuts to avoid and 4 types to eat regularly after age 60. Peanuts, cashews, macadamias, and pine nuts, foods that seem harmless but may quietly trigger inflammation, interfere with medications, raise blood sugar, or cause gradual weight gain without you even noticing. In contrast, by simply adding 1 Brazil nut in the morning, a few almonds during the day, a few walnuts in the evening, or a small handful of pistachios after a meal, you are sending a message to your body that you are choosing to live healthy with intention. Male vitality and hormone health after 60 are not gone. They are like a quiet flame that needs to be protected with knowledge and timely care. You don't have to change everything in one day. Just start with one small choice, made consistently each day, like swapping 1 familiar nut for a heart-friendly, brain-boosting, energy-supporting option. If you found today's message helpful, don't forget to follow the channel and leave a comment below. We will continue to share more stories about nutrition, herbs, and simple daily tips to help you live healthier and more independently every day. And how about you? Are you currently eating any of the nuts we discussed today? We'd love to hear your experience.